So thanks Matt for taking time. It's busy time for you, I know, but it's great to have you here. And I think the last time we kind of caught up with each other was at the Edinburgh Coffee Festival, when I think the last I saw you was up on stage doing the AeroPress Championships with your young boy on your shoulders for the entire time as well.
It wasn't too bad. I think when I was up on stage, he was just running around being more of a nuisance for everyone else. But I developed like the quickest recipe I possibly could. It was like, took me about 45 seconds, I think, to do it, so that I could just then look after him.
Are you going to share that recipe with everyone? So it's what, 50 grams in, stir, hot water, plunge.
Yeah, nothing to measure, just chuck it all in. I hope what comes out is tasty.
Yeah, I seem to remember you didn't win though. That's a slight challenge to that.
No. I think I got to the second round. But to be honest, like, it was probably better I went out at that point, because I think my son William was getting a bit bored.
He did very well though, I have to say. He was doing good behaviour when you swung past our stand, so that was good to see you.
Yeah.
And then obviously we got the first time that we met when it was kind of something out of, I seem to remember it as something out of layer cake, when we had to do a coffee drop on the top of a service station overpass, which was quite good fun. So so we thank you again for that. So for the viewers and the listeners, we had a slight courier problem, and Matt decided to wake up at about 4 o'clock the next morning and drive the coffee directly down to us, which was again very kind of you. And I apologise for having to have a Greg's coffee for the way back up as well.
Don't worry. I felt duty bound to get it to you.
But it was very good, and everyone enjoyed that one. So that is fantastic.
Yeah, that's the main thing, right?
And we wanted to check how things are going for you in lockdown now. So obviously, just before lockdown, was it 4 weeks when you opened your second cafe in Stockbridge, and then lockdown came. So yeah, we just wanted to see how you're getting on, really, how you're coping, what's changed.
Well, quite a lot has changed, obviously. Once lockdown happened, it was just a case of, like everyone else, just had to close the doors, and that was that. And there was a period of time when we're all, I say we're all, as in like every sort of cafe business owner, because everyone's kind of gone through the same thing, but we're all very much in limbo for a few days whilst we were just tuning in to those government briefings every evening, just hoping they would give us some news about what was going to happen. And so it was very stressful for a few days, but once they announced like what they had planned, it did sort of take the pressure off a little bit. So both shops are still closed, although we are hoping to open the Stockbridge branch very soon, just for takeaways, with everything in, because it's a nice big shop, so there's lots of space for one in, one out policy. Nobody's going to be too close to each other. But the second cafe, the smaller one, is just going to stay closed for the time being. But the roastery has been doing really, really well. Actually, the online sales have been through the roof. Lots of people needing good coffee for the home, so I'm glad they've all been buying our stuff.
Oh, fantastic! That is great to hear.
Yeah. But I guess the thing that's changed is now it's just me working again. Just like when we first started, all our staff got furloughed. So there's been a few long days, lots of roasting and lots of bagging to do solo. So it does take a bit of time, but I'm not complaining if it's keeping us going.
Oh, absolutely. And is it the bagging which is the harder bit? It seems, especially because obviously the move from wholesale to retail is going to mean kilo bags down to 50 gram bags.
We were doing like 6 kilo tubs down to retail bags. So I mean, you could take care of somebody's order in like 2 minutes. But now, I thought my bagging days were over, but they've come back to home.
Well, it's always good to revisit.
The heat sealer, like, hello, my old friend. There we go.
Yeah, just have that standoff when you both stare at each other, and it's like, right, we're back into it.
Exactly.
Oh, fantastic! It's good to see. I mean, it's a trend that we're seeing that everyone's stepping up and buying the retail bags from the roasters, which is fantastic. And obviously, as you said, you're going to start doing takeaway, hopefully next week. So, do you think you're going to see that kind of the graph drop back down again? So as wholesale comes up, do you think retail is going to go down, or do you think it might be a here to stay kind of thing?
I think they'll reach a balance. I reckon the online will come down a bit, but not too much, hopefully. But the inverse of that is that, cafe trade won't be where it was for quite a few months yet. It's kind of what I'm kind of planning for, like maybe not even till after Christmas before we see some kind of trade like it was. So there will be a slight dip, but hopefully it will kind of balance itself out, and we can kind of find a nice equilibrium there, I think.
Oh, fantastic. That's good. So other than roasting and bagging, what else have you been keeping yourself busy with? Anything else around the business that you've been kind of putting off until now to do, or been mainly out and about?
Well, I think after going through opening up the Stockbridge branch, we were quite happy just to take a little break, to be honest. But no, the roastery has been keeping me pretty busy, kind of at a full-time basis just now. So I've been putting all of my efforts into that. And as I mentioned to you as well, Dave, I was been moving house in our spare time as well. So there hasn't been too much free time for anything else.
Yeah, it's just time, really, isn't it? Not spare or free. It's just time that you managed to fill up. Yeah. Oh, superb. And the other thing that we've seen a lot of as well is a lot more Zoom cup-ins and remote cup-ins. So we saw you were on one with a lot of people that we knew last weekend. So
yeah.
How did that go down? How was that organised? How did it come about? It looked like a really good event to be in.
Yeah, that was great. That was that was Lisa from Deer Green, and she got in touch through Instagram with quite a few different roasteries, I think, or different people that she knew from roasteries, and just asked if we wanted to sort of try and have a cupping together, but obviously remotely. And so the idea was floated that you'd send one of your coffees out to sort of, I think it was 7 other roasters in the end. And then we all met up on a Saturday lunchtime, like through Zoom. And we all like ground the coffee at the same time. We poured at the same time, and then we all just kind of cupped the coffees blind. We made sure every coffee was secret. And then when we were all finished, we all wrote down kind of where we thought the origins were, what the processing was, and just had a little chat about it. And it was really interesting just to see what people were sending out. So like there was a couple there who kind of wished they just grabbed whatever coffee they could find, and they were like, "Oh man, I've actually got this like super amazing, anaerobic Colombian that I should have sent you guys." So we joked potentially going to do it again, and we joked like everyone's going to be going sourcing the maddest coffees they can possibly find now.
Well, that's it. There's no competitions anymore, are there? So those 90 pluses are available for cupping. So
yeah,
we should do it the other way around and just do fully pulp natural Brazil for everyone.
Well, that was one of the ideas we had. Is like it would be good maybe just to buy a bag of green between us and everyone roast it and just see the kind of different approaches that people have to it.
The Lockdown Roasters Championships. I like it.
Yeah,
that'd work well. So dare we ask who got most of the origins right?
It was a mix. Like I think we all got our fair share of right and wrongs. Some people picked some interesting ones. So like we have coffee from Ecuador right now, which is really, really good and really, really interesting. That's the guy. Yeah. So it's an interesting variety. It's actually Ethiopian heirloom, which a man called Guillermo Ortiz has grown on his farm in Ecuador, and it tastes so juicy and so fruity with this nice little bit of a florally finish that you'd think it was an African, and everybody on the Zoom cupping did. Which I was quite pleased about. I managed to fool them all.
You sneaked it in. Yeah. You sneaked it in. I like that.
But there was another one. There was another guy who had a really good one from Papua New Guinea, which nobody got right either. Everyone was going Colombian on that one. So.
Oh, it's happening quite a lot now. We're seeing a lot, especially around Indonesia as well. The difference in Indonesian coffee now. We had one which was basically just pineapple and tropical, and nobody would be able to guess Indonesia to pineapple and tropical. So yeah, everyone's really up in their game, we found. And obviously this month we included a coffee that you also have on your books now, the anaerobic fermentation Brazil from Sender C-Tech. And one of our subscribers actually came on and said you know, this is as close to this Ethiopian that I found once in Melbourne that they went out and bought 2 more kilos of it to see them through the rest of the month because it's so un-Brazilian for them. So yeah, so you're going to move me on to my question around how you kind of how you choose your sourcing, because obviously what we find interesting about you is you've always got a wide range of coffees available. So you've got some kind of workhorse coffees all the way up to, as you said, the Ecuadorian, Ethiopian heirlooms. So we find it fascinating to see. And yeah, just curious what kind of makes a coffee jump out of the cupping table. What makes it take one of your slots in your roster?
So we're looking for coffees that are ultimately that have been well grown, well processed. We tend to try and avoid coffees that we think are showing any characteristics of some sort of defect in the growing or the processing. And like you were talking about that the anaerobic fermented Brazil, you know, coffees like that can sometimes come across as being really funky and really interesting, but actually it's kind of just hiding a bad coffee. So we try and be quite strict with what we're looking for. And in terms of like, we tend not to be biased to any origin. Like, so as good coffee is a good coffee. And also likewise, we tend not to just try and buy origins for the sake of it. So like at the moment, we have our first coffee from Myanmar, which we've been looking for coffee from Myanmar for the last 3 years. We always wanted to have some Asian coffee in there because we've never had it before, but we wanted to make sure it was the right one, and not just kind of buy one for the sake of it. And I guess in terms of characteristics, we like vibrancy in our coffee. I was thinking about this before we spoke. I was like, what defines our coffee? And I like them to have a lot of vibrancy, and a lot of pop, as I say, and just really just pack lots of sweetness, real juiciness to them, and just something that makes you just want to drink it again and again and again.
And I think that kind of comes out. So the obviously the one that we're including this next week now. So yeah, sorry for the extra bagging that you're going to be doing there. It'll keep you busy. But obviously the one that we have from you is we've struggled with the pronunciation. So we're going saucy, soche. We're not really sure.
I go with sauce.
Sauce.
I'm sure in Spanish. My Spanish isn't good, but I'm sure it's like sauce or something like that. But sauce just sounds cool.
But it's again, I think it's go and get the Google Translate. We'll see what it comes up with. But I think it does hit all the notes that you've said in terms of what you're looking for, because it is a really juicy coffee. So I think we got, especially because it's Peruvian, so you're going to get a lot of sweetness and kind of, for us, that kind of stewed fruitiness in there, and it's a really sweet coffee which comes through. And I think it's a really great example of Peruvian coffee. So it matches exactly what you said. And then also when you look at the Ecuador, which again, thank you very much for sending this one over. That's been a delight to be drinking. So I'm going to be very sad that one goes as well. But again, similar kind of undertones to it, but obviously a different set of tasting notes. But yeah, it's that pop, vibrancy, the sweetness. I think is something that we always find when we bring you in. All the coffees are always sweet. So the Kenyan that we had off you, very sweet. Papua New Guinea, very sweet as well. So I think that definitely is does show through. So you're meeting your goals there. I think
I've never had anyone in the cafe or through the roastery tell me that a coffee is too sweet. I think you can't really go wrong if you're aiming for that.
Sweetness is good. So I guess talk about the coffees that we had from you. So as we mentioned, this is now the coffee that we're bringing in, and I think one of the first coffees, I think it's quite the first one, I've lost the bag, was the Papua New Guinea that you had here. Now you can see a difference.
Yeah.
So we love it, by the way. It's fantastic. But when we opened the box, it's really good. So I was just wondering what was kind of the driver, what made you choose now or then, because obviously it was a little bit of time ago, to move from kind of your traditional pack, and what kind of moved you to the brand that you got now, which is all recyclable, I guess, was one key thing for you.
Yeah, ultimately the main driver for it was finding a more sustainable way of packaging our coffee. It's actually still pretty hard to do, I don't think there's like 100% right way to do it yet. There's a lot of people doing a lot of different things, and we kind of landed on the recyclable option as opposed to like compostability or things like that. As far as we're aware, from speaking to a few people, recycling is still the only guaranteed way that it's going to get used up again, because some places do composting, some places don't, and it's all like a little bit trying to catch up at the moment. So yeah, we decided to go with 100% recyclable packaging, and we had to find a company that could do that, because there's quite a few companies offer like the recyclable bags, but then the valve is made of something different, and that's not recyclable, or the zip is not recyclable. But we managed to find a company that could offer that, and then we took the opportunity as well to sort of change the design of the bags to fit in with where we wanted to take the branding of the company. So with Stockbridge location opening, the sort of color scheme matches quite a bit with that cafe. And up until lockdown, the plan was to kind of continue that and keep going, but that's kind of on hold just now. And also we just wanted to sort of freshen it up a bit. We'd had the older white bags, I think, for about 3 years, basically since we started the roastery, and we just fancied a change and just to bring a bit of a fresher look to the company, I think.
Absolutely, and again, I think it really stands out when, so obviously we get many samples, many roasters come through, and I think actually I think you're the first one who's taken this approach for kind of the taller bag, and the pink really makes it stand out as well. So yeah, we were really happy to see that when it came out. And I'm guessing also it might even be a little bit easier to pack than having to try and get it in the little.
It's a lot easier to pack, and you notice as well there's only one sticker as opposed to, I think we used 3 before. So like the time to do it is cut.
Yeah. So it was forward thinking on your behalf. Then you knew it was coming. You knew you'd be back in that roastery bagging. So you went
something. Yeah. Something in the back of my mind was saying, you'll be back in there before you know it. Yeah.
Oh no, that's brilliant. So I guess if we talk about your cafes then, so anyone who knows Dog and Hat know that we love Edinburgh. It's probably one of if not our favourite city, and the coffee, having a good coffee scene there kind of doubles up for us. So it's a double win. But we're just curious about your take on the Edinburgh coffee scene, because obviously if you just change my background so everyone can see kind of one of our favourite coffee shops in Edinburgh. So here we go. This is your York Place original coffee shop. So for us, this says 2 good things about it. One, it's your coffee, and you can't really see off this picture because it's kind of down to the bottom left. Is you've got the stand. So as comedy fans and going up to the festival quite a lot, we used to love going down to the stand as well. So when we saw them both together, we thought it's got to be a win. So I was just wondering if you could kind of take us through why you picked that spot and give us an idea of what it was like in festival time. I'm guessing you're going to have queues out the front of that place all day long for a month. Maybe not this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, no festival this year, unfortunately, which is sad. Just to add to the troubles, but we'll ignore that for now. So if the festival was on, and what it usually is like is absolutely heaving. Like Edinburgh in general, just my best statistic about the festival is that Edinburgh's population most of the time is around 400,000 people. During the festival, it goes up to about 1.5 million. So it's like almost trebled, and it's like the city is just absolutely buzzing and jumping. And although the locals hate it, like the pavements are packed and nobody feels like they can get around anymore. But for people like me with a little cafe, it's great because the amount of people that come by to have coffee is fab. And like you say, with the stand next door, they're doing shows all day, and they open up 4 other stands on the same street in various little basements. So there's just hundreds and hundreds of people going around. And we're in quite a fortunate position now where we've got like a bit of a following and a reputation. And so we also get, during tour season, which is mainly during the summer and at Christmas as well, a lot of people come specifically to us for coffee. So the whole thing just happens at once, and we just have one amazing month.
How did the baristas find it?
They find it fine. Like, we've learned a lot like the last maybe 2 festivals have been absolutely fine. There was a few rough ones before that whilst we were learning how to cope with it. But no, everybody's absolutely fine now.
I can just
Apart from that, it
imagine
gets a little hot.
measuring.
That's the only problem.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's not helping. Yeah, standing over the top of a
No.
espresso machine,
Yeah.
frothing milk in the hot Edinburgh sun. Oh no, that's fantastic. And again, your Stockbridge shops. That's a nice addition. Obviously, it's great for you to be opening up a presence in a different part of the city. And I think when we chatted, you said it was going really well before it you had to shut. But how was opening for it? Was it plain sailing, as these things often are?
Yeah, no, fairly. Like I think. I mean, trying to open any business comes with a certain amount of stress and problem solving and things going wrong. But we were kind of prepared for that this time. So anything that was happening, we were just like, okay, we got to get it sorted. But there wasn't really it was fairly smooth, I would say. And then once we got open, we were actually kind of slightly overwhelmed by the response from the community in Stockbridge and people in general. We had maybe 1 or 2 quiet days leading up to the weekend, but then the first weekend we were open was just absolutely crazy. And like we were just absolutely snowed under. We had to queue out the door. Every seat was taken for the entire day. Damn near killed us, I think, that first weekend. I think all of our new staff.
Damn your successful businesses.
What have I got myself into? Yeah. But yeah, like you say, we were open for total of about 4 weeks before the lockdown happened, and things were starting to settle in nicely, and we had a nice routine going, and again it fixed all the problems that were arising. So it was a real shame that everything has happened the way it was, because I feel like because it's well into spring, summertime now, the weather's beautiful. I think we'd been absolutely flying. We were going to get little benches and things out the front and do some ice cream. Yeah. But never mind.
I've been to Edinburgh in December. You can still have ice cream. It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Anything. Yeah.
Oh, superb. And I guess if we just go back to the El Sauce that's going in, so that everyone can see it again. So obviously this is what you're going to be packing for quite some time. Now we mentioned the things which kind of drew you to the coffee. Now, obviously it's been a fairly big staple in the coffee shops for a while. So I guess what have people been finding? How have they been taking it most? Has it been black coffees? Have you been finding it works really well across milky coffees?
I think it's a good all-rounder, this coffee. It's why we kind of bought it to be our house coffee. Obviously, most people buy it in milk. Flat white and lattes are by far the biggest sellers in the cafe, but we find it makes a lovely one black as well. That kind of, if you got a really sweet coffee with that, like you say, that nice kind of fruitiness to it, just lends itself really well to a black coffee as well. So we find this coffee is a really good all-rounder. You're going to enjoy it however you drink it. I hope, anyway.
Oh no, I'm sure we try and keep a little bit, so we do one final cupping before the end of the month, just so we can refresh our memories, because we're already planning 2 months ahead. So we like to bring it back, and it's still holding up nicely. And I'm going to be again very sad when those last few beans drop out of this one. So that's it's going to be a sad time.
Yeah, no.
I guess. So there's a couple of other bits that we're going to discuss. But first of all, I want to say very impressive lockdown hairdo. I think we are both doing pretty well on that one. So things I never thought I'd be looking forward to. Garden centres and hairdressers. Those are the two of the things. Very odd. And the other one, we promised you a little quiz as well as part of this, just to keep you awake on a Saturday morning. But we were going to keep it easy for you, and we will. So the question is going to be, how many coffee producing countries can you name in 10 seconds starting now?
Brazil, Colombia, Bolivia, Peru, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Panama, Honduras, Ethiopia.
Oh, and there we go. That's double 11. I think we'll let you have the 11th in there. So that's a good.
Okay.
That's good. Recover from a slow start there with the pressure of the question, and good double figures. everyone will be glad to know, you're and Jamaica. That's a sneaky one
I
to.
was doing a mental fly around the globe. I just went flying over every country.
I was going to say I could cheat because we got one of the we got one of the coffee maps on the wall. So we're okay. But yeah, no, Jamaica is actually right in my eye line as well. So I just wanted to make sure you weren't cheating and look at the reflection or anything. But fantastic. So Matt, thanks so much for joining us then and kind of taking us through coffee
My
journey,
pleasure.
how you've been coping. And we'll let you get back to your busy time. And we look forward to getting the coffee out to the subscribers this next week. So Matt, thanks again. And
Thank you very
we'll
much.
speak soon. Cheers.
Speak soon, guys. Bye.